الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد وإلهكم إله واحد لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم صدق الله العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. Respected elders, brothers in Islam, today inshallah ta'ala briefly I would like to share with you the meaning and the implications of perhaps the most important name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-Wahid and al-Ahad. The one. He is the unique, he is the one, the solitary, he has no partner like him. Time and time again in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us about his tawheed, his oneness. In the verse that I recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that your Lord is only one Lord. There is no Lord other than him. He is the Rahman, he is the Rahim. When we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Wahid, then it means he is one, he cannot be divided, he cannot be duplicated. So when we say that he cannot be divided, then this whole idea of him having children goes out of the question as well. In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly refutes the Christians who themselves are very confused about what to believe about Jesus alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran clearly says, وَلَا تَقُولُوا ثَلَاثَةً إِن تَكُونُوا خَيْرًا لَكُمْ إِنَّمَا اللَّهُ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ. Don't say three. Your Lord is only one. Stay away from these kind of sayings. Just because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah is one, he cannot be duplicated, he cannot be represented in anybody else either. So that takes out the equation that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam was the son of God. Astaghfirullah, Sayyidina Isa himself said that I am the servant, I am the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It also means as well, because this is the most important attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that it means that if no one believes in it, he is going to get the biggest punishment as well for it. The most important thing to believe about Allah is his oneness. If you refuse to believe in that, which is what we call shirk, that is the one crime now, which is the worst possible crime now. And Allah in the Quran makes that very clear. He says that, look, when it comes to the crimes that a person can commit, then Allah is willing to forgive all of them. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. A person commits burglary, Allah will forgive it. A person commits zina, he will forgive it. A person commits any type of crime, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is willing to forgive it. But one crime that Allah will not forgive, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ. Allah will never forgive shirk. Why? Because it goes against the most basic teachings of Islam. It goes the most basic teachings which each and every prophet taught. What do we need to know about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah has made that very easy for you. And He has revealed everything you need to know about Tawheed in one simple surah, Surah Ikhlas. And the importance of this is reflected that, subhanAllah, we know that Surah Ikhlas represents 1/3 of the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Ikhlas says, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدَ. Say, O Messenger, Allah is the one. Allahu Samad. There is none like Him. He is independent. Lam Yalid. He never gave birth to anyone. Walam Yulad. Nor was He given birth to. Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. And there is nothing like Him. Nothing can be compared to Him. Everything you need to know about Tawheed is perfectly encapsulated in this beautiful surah. Most important part of this surah is the first word in this. Qul. What is this lesson about? What is this surah about? It is about the oneness of Allah. But how does it start? Qul. O Messenger, you tell the people. So reflect on that. The most important lesson is the lesson of Tawheed. But where do we learn that lesson from? Qul. We learn it from Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You cannot learn Tawheed and you cannot be introduced to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except through the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Anyone who tries to find Allah without the Messenger alayhi salatu wa sallam is dalun, mudillun, deviated, gumrah. He will never find Allah. He will never find the Rabb al-Alameen. He will never find the Rahman al-Rahim. If you want to find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to do it through the path of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Otherwise, there are many people in this world today who believe in some kind of God, but they are not Muslims. They are not believers. They are not mu'mins. The reason, because they have not gone to the darwaza and to the feet of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The only way you can win real tawheed is through his feet, to win it through that advice. How do we know that one God, the only one God exists? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has given you intellect, He has given you a mind, He gives you science to believe that there can only be one God. It is the simplest aqidah to believe in. There simply cannot be more than one deity. Our ulama and our bazuk, they tell the story of an old woman, and she had a spinning wheel to make threads. And she operates it herself. And with that she is making the thread, and she's making it perfectly well. Someone approached her and said, "Can you prove the oneness from Allah from the spinning wheel?" She said, "Of course I can." "How is that possible to prove it just from this simple spinning wheel?" She said that, "Look, this spinning wheel is being operated by one individual, myself. If we operate it by two people, it will never produce thread. One person will want to make it fast, one person will want to make it slow. One person will operate the wheel in one direction, the other will try to do it in the other direction. This spinning wheel is working harmoniously and perfectly. Why? Because it is being operated by one individual, by myself." She said, "Look at this world and look at the perfection of the universe. Look how the sun, it rises at an exact time and sets at an exact time. Look at the movement of the stars, look at the movement of the plants and everything. Everything is absolutely inch perfect. This is an indication that there cannot be two gods, there is only one person operating that. It is inconceivable that there were two gods or that there were two deities who are controlling the universe. It is all down to one individual. Understanding the oneness of Allah is very simple. Ask yourselves, is there any company, is there any government, is there any organization, is there any football team that has two heads? There is never two heads. In any big company, at the end there is always one individual who is running all operations. In any football team, there is always one captain, there is always one manager. You might say that, look in this country at the moment, we have a coalition. We've got two parties running the country. We've got the Lib Dems and we've got the Conservatives running. Believe me, at this moment in time, everyone knows it. Nick Clegg is absolutely nothing in this country. He is worthless. The real Prime Minister of this country is David Cameron. You've seen how Nick Clegg has been described in decent terms over the last 3-4 years. Nick Clegg, when he was campaigning individually before the previous election, he made his flagship policy that I am going to get rid of university fees for children. For teenagers, when they go to university, I'm going to abolish their fees. I'm going to totally eradicate them. All the students, they voted for Lib Dem. All of them voted for him. When he came into government, if he was supposedly joint prime minister, then why didn't this actual policy go through then? It didn't go through. Why? Because he was second. There was only one real leader. In the same way that in the house there is only one leader. In a football team there is only one leader. You ask yourself that if you have a football team with 2 or 3 captains, what is the chances of success in that team? Those people who follow Pakistani cricket will tell you the problem with Pakistani cricket is that when one captain disappears, he gets the sack, he's still in the team and he still wants to pretend he is the captain. And then the third one, he gets the sack and he still wants to pretend he is the captain. So when Pakistan play cricket, there's not one captain in the team, there's 4 or 5 of them in the team. That's why there's no unity in them. So everything points to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created everything. Again, think to yourself, if there are 2 gods. Just for a moment, if you think to yourself. He says that let's just explore this idea for a moment. If there were 2 gods, who created what? Is it the case that one God created the animal kingdom and one created the plant kingdom? If there are 2 gods, then does that mean that the one who created the plant kingdom is lesser in rank than the one who created the human kingdom? Because humans are more important than plants? How is it divided? Who runs what? Is it the case that one God is running this world and the one God is running the Akhirat? How is that divided and how are the responsibilities divided? How is harmony ensured? Or you might say that, okay, even if there is no conflict, imagine then that these gods, multiple gods, they all have the equal duties. All of them have the same authority. All of them have the same knowledge. All of them have the same power, you could say. Just imagine that for a moment. Then I ask you then, what's the point in having all these gods then? If they're all doing the same thing, what's the point in them? Everything points to the fact that there must be only one God. This is a true story, and it goes back to when we were in Egypt. In Egypt, we used to sit into taxis a lot of the time, and we used to strike up conversations with the drivers. My friend and I, we got into a taxi once, and he saw that we looked like Pakistanis, but we were speaking English within ourselves. So he got curious, and he said, "Where are you from?" And we explained to him that, look, we're Pakistanis, but we live in England right now. We're actually born and bred in England. He hadn't been in England. He lived all of his life in Egypt, and he wanted to know more about this country. So he started asking questions, and he said, how many Muslims are there? We told him there's about 2 million Muslims in Britain. Question kept coming, are the Muslims strong? Are the Muslims weak in Muslims? We told him, alhamdulillah, we have mosques, we go to Jummah, we keep fast. What other religions are there? He asked. We said there were Christians, because I know about them, because there were Jews as well. Then we said there were Hindus and there were Sikhs as well. He said, I haven't heard of what Hindus are. Tell me what Hindus are. We said to him, Hindus are people who worship multiple gods. They worship idols and stones, and they worship multiple gods. At that point there, this taxi driver, he said, stop, you are having a laugh with me. You're joking with me. You're insulting me. It looks like you're joking around with me now. Just because you're from England, don't think you're better than me. You're having a joke with me now. We said, no, we're serious. These Hindus, they actually believe in more than one God, and they actually worship stones and idols. He would not believe it. He actually thought we were having a joke with him. He got angry because of it. He goes, look at these youngsters coming into my taxi, and they're taking me for a ride. They're coming out with these jokes. They're actually trying to convince me that people worship idols and stones in this day and age. His aqidah in Tawheed was so pukhta and so rigid, so firm, this individual, that the idea that there could be more than one God, the idea that people still worship stones, his mind automatically went back to the time of Abu Jahl. He thought that Zamana has finished. How is it possible in the 21st century that there were idiots like this who still worship stones, who still worship idols and believe in more than one God? And because of that, he started looking down at us and thought, just get out of my taxi as soon as possible. Subhanallah, this is the lesson of Tawheed. This is how firm it is in our hearts. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this lesson easy for us. That if there is one thing that all Muslims throughout the world are united with, it is Tawheed. It is belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, He is the Wahid, He is the Ahad. And our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did a tremendous job to eradicate shirk in this ummah. And one of the last things he said before he left this world, he said, Inni la akhafu an tushriku ba'di shay'a. That I have taught you the lesson of Tawheed so brilliantly, so beautifully and so perfectly. I know for a fact that you will not commit shirk after me. That is not one thing I am worried about. I have given you the lesson of Tawheed perfectly, and I know you will understand it. What did he say though? وَلَكِنْ أَنْ أَخَافُ أَنْ تَنَافَسُوا فِيهَا. My worry is that you will fight over the dunya. As is exactly what is going on in this world today at the moment. What is happening in Iraq is dunya. It's not religion, it's not Sunni versus Shias, it's dunya. What's happening in Libya, it's not the radicalists versus the classics, it's dunya. Look at the trouble that's going on in Pakistan, in India and all these places. It's dunya. So our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught us the lesson of Tawheed beautifully, just like all prophets and messengers did. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enrich our hearts with the lesson of Tawheed. Ameen wa ma alayna illa al-balagh al-mubin.